shocked me.
Okay.
Yesterday, for example, I heard it was either All Things Considered or Fresh Air. They had a guy on. I think his name was Heidberg. He was a PhD, and the whole skit was basically how great the world would be if the population were cut down drastically.
Yeah. Listen, I wish Alex, one of the most extreme things, or at least I thought were extreme things, that Alex brought up in 9/11 The Road to Tyranny, which was my introduction into Alex Jones and Infowars altogether, was there's no way that they're planning on killing 80% of us and putting us in a cashless society control grid in major cities. They would never do that. But then you look at the documents, and it's actually a lot worse than what he talks about. There are a lot more quotes. There are a lot more people on the record. You know, we covered people out in Australia saying that they had to cut the population there by 70+%. People in the UK saying they need to go from 70 million to 30 million somehow in the next 25 years. How is that possible unless you sterilize everybody and kill a large sum of them? It's not possible.
Well,
go ahead.
NPR, you consider, if there's any one source of information that is unbiased, it's NPR. But this yesterday was just horrifying because it even ended with some beautiful, music that was just like, this is NPR and this is how it is, all things considered.
Well, they are very docile. Talk about you want to go to sleep. Listen to NPR. Everybody's voice is like this, and they show utterly no emotion while they're talking. And, we're happy to be joined by Dr. Isengard, who's telling us that it's okay that we have 6.5 billion people, because as soon as we get down to 1 or 2 billion people, everything's going to be super fantastic. And how are we going to get there? Well, by peace, loving, and happiness, with rainbows and unicorns and gold for all. I mean, yeah, dude, I'm telling you, the population reduction agenda is very scary. It's very scary to me that these billionaires just had a big meeting about it, especially Oprah and her influence. She does have an influence of probably 1 billion strong, and that's scary in itself. Whereas Walmart may be one of the biggest economies in the world, she's one of the biggest public figures in the world, and people actually listen to her and love her, and very frightening. It's just like in this country using Hannah Montana to, basically proselytize for the Cyberbullying Act, and free speech ended on the internet. They know what's selling. And Hannah Montana is selling backpacks, lunch pails. She's got a #1 show on Disney, huge network, #1 movie, #1 album, #1 concert series. They know what sells. They know how to propagandize the population. I thank
There's something even scarier than that.
All right, go ahead. What else you got, Matt? Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Today, on my way home from work, this is on, the internet. It's out there, but I haven't heard you guys talk about it yet. And it was that Obama, has a speech in which he says that the healthcare changes must come this year. Like, what is going to change between now and the end of this year that if we don't pass these laws for Obama, that it won't pass at all? And
they won't be able to inoculate the entire population with this 3-spot shot that you can go check out the video. It's over at the Infowarrior.com. In fact, we should play that video. Let's cue that one up, Jaron, where they say that the 3-spot shot flew through, where they want to make a mandatory vaccination, 3 mandatory vaccinations, and that'll all be a lot easier if the WHO does declare a pandemic. In fact, we should bring that document up too. On the break, I'm going to go bring up that document that guy was talking about, where it's the preparedness and planning document where they openly state that you don't have any individual human rights and you just got to take what you can get. And what you can get is a shot in the arm. And if you don't want to take that shot in the arm, we'll just say Executive Order 13375, throw you in jail, charge you $250,000. And that's if we don't put a bullet in the back of your head, boy. I thank you for the call, Matt. Let's go to Nick in Omaha. Nick, you're on the line.
Hey, Jason. I wanted to call in and relay my story about Ambien CR to you.
All right, let's hear it.
Okay. Well, first of all, I am an experimenter with drugs, both legal and illegal.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I started off with Ambien CR, I was actually at a bowling alley, and my friend who was prescribed the drug had talked to me about some of the side effects, and I've seen the commercials you're talking about, and they're pretty insane.
Mm-hmm.
But within about 10 minutes of swallowing the pill, and this is honestly what a lot of people do, is for recreational uses, you basically kind of like lose your mind. You go insane.
Okay.
And I barely remember, like jerking around at the bowling alley and kind of going crazy and losing your mind. But most of the people, what they use it for is just to get high.
Yeah. Well, it's just like any of these drugs, OxyContin, Percocet, oxycodone. Unfortunately, yeah, people are always looking for a new way to get high, and they tell you about the hallucinations because they're real. In fact, from what I've heard from people who do take Ambien and Ambien CR, if you can last 10 to 30 minutes awake time, then you're just kind of wired in this euphoric, delusional state for hours at a time. You have to be able to beat the sleep, I guess.
No, and that's what I was going to say. Like, compared to the other, drugs that I've experimented with, Ambien is a hardcore psychotropic, So, yeah, I lasted. I didn't fall asleep. I just partied all night long. It was kind of crazy and barely remember anything, but I was just going to say that.
So you almost black out with this thing, too. Well, that's a great drug, hallucinations, blacking out, no self-control. Sounds like something I want to take on a regular basis. I thank you for the call, Nick. We're going to jump to Jesse in New York. Jesse, you're on the line.
Hey, Jason. I got 3 things for you.
Okay.
First of all, I love in the interview with the yellow journalists.
Oh, the popular mechanics debate from a few years back now?
Yeah. When you said...
When they accuse me of being a liar, basically I go through about 5 to 6 different facts that James Meggs and David Dunbar won't talk about, including the drills that were going on in the morning of 9/11. I bring up the National Reconnaissance Office holding a drill of ramming a plane into a building at 8:45 in the morning with a team from the CIA and John Fulton. And he goes, Jason, I find it very interesting that every time somebody doesn't agree with you, you call them a liar. And at that point, I had not called anybody a liar. And I'm sitting, 1 feet away from this propagandist. And I get fired up really quick, man. I'm like, I'm not calling anybody a liar. I'm calling you a liar because you are a liar. And he was a liar. And he knows it.
I laughed so hard at that. That was awesome.
Well, thank you, man. What else you got for me?
The second thing is, isn't it going to be great when we can, scan ourselves into Grand Theft Auto and get blown away by cops?
You know what? Let's talk about that, because I was one of these advocates, especially as a preteen and teenage boy who could not wait for virtual reality. I was all about Big Brother and all this technocracy stuff because I didn't see the bigger picture. I was really blinded, and I couldn't wait for this stuff. And now that I do see the bigger picture, it is just horrifying. And we're going to go over that on the other side. It's the Infowarrior with Jason Bermas, PrisonPlanet.tv, Infowars.com.